Alright. Let's talk how to make the struggle mechanic, this thing. Also added it so you can move around. I only have 15 minutes because YouTube's funny. And we want to make a leather ball, or whatever really. You could also use a cube, but I used a leather ball, so... Make his physics turn on the character. His appearance, visible off, cast shadows off. In your brain... you don't have to do anything, I'm dumb. Go to combat, health and defense. Invulnerable on, immortal on, attackable off, destroy after death off. And then just rename it to mover or whatever you want to call it for you to make sure you know what it is. Now let's go into the player brain. So page 1 you do call page stun behavior. This is the page you want to change to stun behavior. And you don't really have to do anything except for put the things you don't want the player to do if he's stunned. So if not stunned, and you can just nest like A, jump, X, attack, Y, and all this stuff down here. So you cannot do these things while he's being lassoed. He can move, so you can struggle. You can also put it in there as well if you want it. And you know, just make him not move around and jiggle, but it kind of looks funny, so that's why I added it. Once number variable max resist equals 20, so that's the how big the resist meter is. I just put it at 20 and I start at 10 down here. And you also do once mover as an object variable equals, you choose in world picker, this guy. So that'll work. Now you do a stun variable, and most of the stuff will be nested under it. Stunned. Started to resisting equals 10, so it's half of this. You can also do resisting equals max resist divided by 2, so this way if you change the max resist, it always starts in the middle. Up to you. Direction X equals 0, this is for the UI. Resist flash speed equals 0.04, this is also for the UI. Resist bar size equals 0.5 is, it's supposed to be scale, but I named it size. This is also for the UI. Mover position equals position plus world up multiplied by 0.2, because a leather ball has a bit of a weird positioning thing going on, so you just want to like put up by 0.2, otherwise it clips into the world. And then mover attachment, it just basically makes you attached to the mover. In theory, I don't think you need this anymore. You could ignore this line, but we're just gonna leave it here for now. Because, yeah, because that was the original thing I did. And then else, now this one's still nested under stunned, else. So if you're not stunned, start to mover detach you, so you're not attached to the ball anymore as it's moving towards the mob. Target stun, this is target slash stun. You could also just make the variable called target, doesn't matter. I just named it target stun because I have other games where I used the target variable equals nothing. Mover, so it's the object, the ball, move toward target stun. So this thing will, yeah, this is basically the mob that'll hit you. Now the declaration of this variable will be used somewhere else. We'll get into that later. At speed 0.4 without the acceleration, min distance 0, so it actually bumps into the enemy. Positions, this is the player's position, equals mover position plus world down multiplied by 0.15, because again the ball is a bit levitated, so it gets kind of funky. And this basically makes sure that you can still do the struggle thingy, and the player is still like on the ball. That's basically moving towards the mob. Now you can also like remove this and nest this thing under here and it works too, but for now just leave it like that. Display meter, resource meter, so in the meter gallery. Resisting max resist. Scale resist bar size. At screen position 0 plus world up multiplied by 0.2. This just makes sure it's above your head on the screen. Don't use in at world position because there's nothing like to put left and right for the camera perspective, so it like gets really wonky and messed up. Theoretically, I could do something about it, but I don't want to. It's too much hassle and too much work. This is easier. Display left stick. You want to choose the left stick from the gallery. not the actual left stick, so we get numbers. Scale 0.6, you can also increase that. At screen position 0 plus world up multiplied by 0.3 plus west multiplied by direction X. You can also use east or west. This just makes, for UI, is left and right variable indicator. Because if you use left or right, this is equivalent to the player left or right, but west and east is always west is always going to be west and east always going to be east for the screen UI. Struggling greater than 0. Starter 2. Resist flash speed equals 0.04. Struggling decremented by 0.5. So this is just here you can have the scale of the resist bar size, and we'll get into the resist bar size will have a constant flashing. This just indicates the decrease of speed, and struggling is only greater than 1 if you're having player input, and if you have no player input it goes downwards, so struggling decrement by 0.05. Otherwise, if the resist flash speed is equals greater than 0.02, resist flash speed decrement by 0.001. This just makes the flashing, if you're not moving, slow down. I'll get into this why you don't need this line. These lines are all cosmetics, but you know, I think you'd enjoy it. Resist bar size incremented by flash resist speed. So again, resist bar size is this thing, and it gets increased by the flash speed, which is originally 0.04, but it gets slower if you don't have any input, which we'll get into how we do that later. Resist bar size, if it's greater than 0.8, the resist bar size goes back to 0.6. So it's basically just a thumping motion for the bar instead of a bouncing one. Bouncing looks weird, so I prefer thumping things, so you know, there's that. We name a new Boolean variable called direction increase. This is just for the left and right, the stick bouncing. You can name this anything you want. I just named direction increase because I need to know if it's increasing or decreasing. Direction X increment by 0.2. 0.02 actually. Direction X greater than 0.05 or greater than or equal to. Direction increase equals false. This just basically activates the opposite. It makes it go down, and so it always bounces in between. That's how it get the bouncing motion. Direction X decrement by 0.02. Direction X less than or equal to negative 0.05. Direction increase equals true. So it just keeps bouncing back and forth. And there's a blank line. This is all still nested under stun, by the way. Resisting greater than 0, resisting decremented by 0.15. So the resisting is the bar that you have, the resisting bar, as we mentioned earlier. Wiggle direction. So this is just the left, right. This is again just a variable to make sure that that you cannot just spam both A and D at the same time and it works. You have to like switch in between. You can't just spam DDD or AAA or left stick right direction all the time. You have to like bounce in between. So left stick, so this one is the actual left stick right direction, not from the gallery. Resisting incremented by 1 if you press in the direction, and struggling equals 1. So struggling is the thing up here, which we said will keep going down if no input is added, but if input is added, then it'll always stay off 1, and the thumping is a fast motion, indicating that you are struggling against the enemy's pull. And wiggle direction equals false once you do the input, and if not a wiggle direction, left stick left, resisting by 1, struggling is also, and wiggle direction equals true. You can also name this left stick right or left stick left, whatever. It's just on off to make sure you have to go left or right. Anyway, and then at the end we do resisting greater than max resist, stunned equals false. So if the resisting bars fills up to the maximum, the stun gets denied. As for this guy, I don't know how you're gonna do your enemy detection or whatever, so I just did once team 2. If this guy doesn't have a stun target himself, a target to stun, he will try to detect enemies, which is this radius thing here. He can activate it in brain sensors, activate the show detect sensor, and change the radius, or you can also use object close or whatever, that also works. Turn, and so if he detects an enemy, turn toward it. Counter number 3 loop, so you shoot a aggressive spark effect. You can shoot whatever you want really. or you can also shoot your own thingies, your own like rope or whatever. Add it without hit reaction with damage 0 at speed 10 because you don't want to like damage them, you just want to lasso it. Unless your game does damage with your lasso, then that's cool. Then we do a new line called attack hit. Now you have to be careful. If your enemy does a normal attack too, this will also apply. This will also apply stun. So you would have to have some booleans to make sure that it only yeah, ranged. I can just do this. Attack hit ranged, basically. This just makes sure that the physical attack's not stun. That's cool, I didn't know that. Started to. This just means when your attack hit, it just runs this code once. Target stun equals it, basically the enemy you just shot at, or the target you hit, basically. And then its target stun equals me. So as we said in here, the player brain has a variable called target stun. We're just telling the player hierarchy the person who stunned you is me, but we're also telling yourself, the enemy, that the target you stunned is that person. So these are just local variables. You can just use them over and over. Target stun, so this is the player we just stunned. We just tell it target stun. You can also use it stunned, but I did this to, you know, whatever. Target stun, stunned equals true, so the player gets stunned. Now, if you have a stunned target, remember up here we said we have no target, but if you have a target down here, then not target stunned. So this basically means if the player isn't stunned, then you will lose the player as a target, so then we'll just stop running all this code together. This is really the only line you need. Down here is just the beam thingy, like the red beam that I added to make like the lasso effect. You can make a rope effect as well or whatever if you have your own. But I found that the spark effect has a really cool beam effect. You can also use it as a laser or whatnot for other games. But anyway, started to beam, so there's an object variable, equals create, and gallery picker, do the spark thingy. Just make sure that we create the thing, but we can actually still control the thing we created. Otherwise we cannot like recall it because it doesn't have a brain or anything. At position center, now we do cycle position. Again, this is just another bouncing thing, an on and off switch basically. And if cycle position equals true, beam position equals center. It basically means the beam is at the monsters 0. Countdown is 0.1. Cycle position equals false. So it basically just bounces in between. It goes false. Now it says if not cycle position, the beam position equals the target stun center. So it goes towards the target stun position, and then, you know, 0.1 seconds, it just cycle position equals true. So it goes back to you again. So it creates this beam because the effects, they overload and they create a really cool beam in between as they're traveling towards position. It's kind of weird, but you know, it trails have that effect. And otherwise, if you have no target stun, if there's still beam around, destroy beam. Alternatively, you can also run this line of code in here as well, if you want. Same thing, but I just prefer putting in else because all the beam code is here. And that's it for your thingy. That's all you need to know. And I'll just demonstrate if you don't struggle. What I was talking about with the flash resist speed, you see it kind of slows down the thumping. If I increase, like it fastens the thumping, it goes slow again. And it goes down if I don't move left or right. And then it goes slowly down again. It still goes down if I'm pressing as well, so it's like a constant struggle. And if I only press one direction, it does not like go up, so it can be left and right. Forward, backwards doesn't do anything. You can add that in as well if you want. Once you do that, bam, we're out. Now obviously when I'm stunned and I walk towards him, I do not move away or like bump into him because you know, I don't have the end screen effect that you were talking about. But that's, you know, it is what it is, you know. I don't have that. And yeah, that's about it. My 15 minutes is almost up, so if you need anything else, let me know in the Discord. And yeah, that's how you do the stun thingy, lasso effect. Anyway, have fun and see ya.